Hi, I'm Julie Johnson with Firebox Training. Today I'm going to show you how to create master detail relationships on the business component layer. Now, a lot of our operations with an ADF application involve having master, detail, and so on relationships. For example, if we want to list the departments and then all the employees that belong to that department, that's a master detail relationship. Well, all of those master detail relationships are actually defined by view links. And when we create business components all at the same time that already have foreign key relationships, ADF or the JDeveloper wizard is already going to pick up on that and automatically create those view links for you. So let's go ahead and get started. After we do this, we're going to test this in our ADF model tester. So here I'm just going to create a new application. By the way, I'm in 12C, and this works exactly the same way in 11G. Okay, so here I'm creating a new Fusion web application. And I'll just call this Master Detail Relationships. And my application package prefix. So if any Java classes are created, they'll have that, they'll belong to that base package. And here I'll just go ahead and hit finish. And now I'm ready to work with my database. So my database service is actually called ORCL2. And so when I create my business components, it's going to ask me to create a connection, and I'll put that information in there. I'm also working with the HR schema. So yeah, Oracle provides the HR schema with the database, with the Oracle database for free. This is almost finished, and then once this wizard is finished here, I'm going to right-click on my model, and we're going to start creating some stuff here. Okay, so almost there. Okay, beautiful. Let me just get rid of this little helper screen, and we scroll up, and you'll see that my model is empty right now. I'm going to right-click on my model and create business components from tables. So this is the wizard that allows us to create quickly multiple view objects as well as the view links. Okay, so I've already created a connection right in here. The reason why this is showing up is I had already created an IDE connection, so I can reuse it over and over again. Okay, so now I hit OK, and this next screen is going to ask me about my entity objects. So in other words, if I want to update some information, if I want to have updatable view objects, I need to first create the entity objects. So I'll go ahead and do that. We're dealing with the HR schema. I'll hit query. And I know that I have some relationships between regions and countries, and then countries and locations, locations to departments, and finally departments to employees. I'll shuttle those over, and I like to give these more meaningful names. Since an entity object really represents one record in the database, I'm going to refer to these as the singular. So here I'll call this country EO, location EO, EO meaning entity object, department EO, and employee EO. Now here are the entity objects that I just created. I want to be able to access all of these from clients, so I'm going to shuttle all of them over. Now let me rename these. A view object, it just represents a SQL statement, and when we execute our view object, it gives us the results in the form of a row set. I'm going to call this countries VO. Okay, notice how I'm referring to this in the plural because we can have multiple records in there. Locations VO and regions VO. I hit next. Now it's asking us about query-based view objects. In other words, do we want to work with any read-only view objects? At this point, no, I don't really care about that. So I'll go ahead and hit next. And then finally, it's going to add an application or add my objects to an application module so it's actually accessible by clients. Okay, so whatever I put inside of the app module is going to be accessible through data controls. So yes, I'll just check that. I'm not going to worry about a business component diagram. Let me just hit finish so you can see what has been created for us. Okay, it's done now. Let's double click on our application module, and we want to focus on the data model, and in fact I'm going to maximize this. So what you're seeing on the left hand side are my view objects. Okay. The reason why I have this organized into packages, you probably don't have them organized into packages, but this is just a configuration setting that I did through preferences. But you should find, if you should find on your left-hand side your view objects. Notice that there are parent-child relationships. So these are the relationships between the view objects. Okay, and on the right-hand side is what's actually accessible to the outside world. And in fact, you can see that when we look at our data controls over here, this is a direct reflection of what you see on the right-hand side over here if I have this, collapsed. So you'll see that if I expand some of these, you can see the parent-child relationship. Well, what if I really want to have just one top-level view object instance, which is the regions, and I want to get rid of all my other top-level ones? Well, I can just shuttle them over like this. Okay, so let's take a look at what my data control now looks like. See how we have regions and then countries, and that's it? So every time I make changes to this, it updates what's over here. Okay, so now that we have that, let's get some more cascading behavior going on. I want to have yet a third level, so I'm going to highlight this node right here, and I want to find the top level countries over here. You can see that it has a child called locations. It's important that I pay attention to what I have highlighted. I want to add to this node, so I have it highlighted, and I want to add this node, so I have this highlighted, and then I move it over. Let's do the same thing for locations. I find the top level locations. Here's the child, which is departments. Boom. Here I have departments. I want to find the child employees. Okay, so now I have 5 levels of cascading behavior. Let's take a look at our data control. See how we have it goes all the way down, locations, departments, and then finally employees. And so now to test this in our app module tester, we can just right-click on it and hit run. And in a moment, this is going to launch the ADF model tester. Okay, here's our ADF model tester. Let's double-click on this top regions. Since I double-clicked on this view object instance, it's only showing me the region. Okay, so let's go through here, and I have my various regions. If I want to see the parent-child relationship, I double-click on the view link instance. Okay, so here we have, in the Americas, these are the countries that are inside of the Americas. Okay, now let's make United States be the current node. If I now want to take a look at the next level of foreign key link right here, if I double click on it, remember United States is now current. Notice how this shows the United States. Okay, so now in here, let me make this a little bit bigger. You can see all of the locations within the US. I'm going to make Seattle current. Let's go down to the next level. Okay, here we have our departments that are in Seattle. Now let me go to Finance, which is Department 100. Double click on that. This one's selected, and now I have all these guys right in here. So if I want to, let me just minimize this for a moment. If I want to change my model to include other things, it's easy. For example, what if I want to have a top level employee, so it shows all the employees no matter what? Well, I just grab the top level employees over here, make sure my app module is selected over here, and move it over. Let me go ahead and right click on my model. I'm going to rebuild my model and now go back into my model tester and refresh this. And you can see that now I have my top level employees, and I can go through and I can make whatever modifications I want to. So I hope you found this video tutorial very useful. Please visit our website at www.fireboxtraining.com.